Welcome to the Speak Your Truth podcast. I am your host, Jaya Rose, your brand growth coach, specializing in visibility, speaking, and storytelling. And today is so exciting because that's what we're going to be talking about with a beautiful now friend and client, Mandy Harvey. Hi, Mandy. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I love that I get to actually see you and your smiling face.
I know we talk all the time, but very rarely do we see each other in person.
Yeah, well, as in person as we can be right now, right?
Yes, totally.
So thank you for agreeing to come on here and share with people what your journey has been over the last 6 months of working together. And we entitled this From the Sidelines to Shining Online. So first, will you just tell me, why does that resonate with you?
It resonates with me because I've had a business for 3 years. And it's always been this kind of like side thing, gig, passion project, part-time thing, as I also have a full-time 9-to-5 job. And I have always desired for it to be more, but I could never figure out how to make it more, how to show up more powerfully online. And so I feel like this is a perfect title because it really did start out as this kind of sideline gig that I had so much excitement and passion for, but just had no clue how to show up online, how to speak and talk to the women I really desired to work with to support them the way that I really desired to. So now that we've worked together and gone through the program and you've supported me so much, I've learned how to show up real powerfully online. And so it really has been, it's a perfect title for the shift.
I love that. And just to be clear, we worked together in the Embodied Brand Academy for 6 months. So I love this, like, ooh, it's so shiny, how do you do this thing? But I also let's get real about where you were, where we went, and where you are now. So where were you specifically with your ability to share your message, with the clarity around your storytelling, and really with clarity of moving a brand forward and becoming really well known for what you do? Kind of where were you? At what phase were you in when we first started?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I had read so many books. I had taken so many free classes all about how to find your ideal client, how to speak to them, how to, sell to them. I felt like I had done all of this education and work to figure it out. And I was just kind of spinning my wheels. I was getting stuck. I was feeling unworthy and ashamed that I had this business, but I really couldn't talk about it in a concise, impactful way. I couldn't attract people the way I really wanted to. I kind of hid behind the shadows a little bit and I didn't really know what my message was. I knew I had a nutrition business and I wanted to help people reclaim their health, but I didn't have a story. I didn't have an idea of how to take that desire and put it into a concise story, a message that would help to resonate with people. And I was the person that could help do the work. So I had all this knowledge, but I didn't know how to implement it. I didn't know how to align it to me. It was very vanilla. It was very generic, and I had to really align it to what my real story was. But also part 2, I didn't really know what I was doing in my business. I didn't have clarity around what I really wanted to do. So I feel like I had all this information, but I just had no idea how to use it. So I was spinning. I didn't attract a lot of clients. I attracted the wrong clients. I went through a period of time where it felt really yucky because I was working with people who didn't feel aligned. And it just was a challenging period for my business.
That makes total sense. Because you said yes, though, you said yes to working together. You obviously had a desire for something more. Like I can speculate that you knew that there was something within you, that you did have the clarity, that it was possible for you to share your story in a way that also drew people in to working with you.
Yes.
But what would you say was the main thing that held you back from having that clarity when you were trying to do it alone?
I think it was not feeling like not feeling I had enough information, not feeling enough, not feeling clear in who I was. And so I think as I started my business, I had this really great idea and I had passion around it, but also I have grown and gone through my own journey of healing. And so since the time I started my business to the time that I said yes to you, I've changed a lot and evolved. And I didn't have clarity during the midst of that change. So it felt hard for me to concise that or consolidate all that information down into a story, into a message, because I wasn't really sure who I was or if this was the business I really wanted. So I feel like it was partly me not feeling like I was good enough, but also partly it was I wasn't confident in who I was and what my story was and what my magic was that I brought for other people.
That's so powerful. And would you say that part of what we did initially was learning frameworks of how to identify the message and how to identify? And was that particularly helpful?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So helpful. Everything in the program was fantastic. But what really was amazing was that foundational work. Who am I and what do I bring? And what is the gifts that I can offer to my audience? And seeing that clarity and alignment to my business. That foundational work and that clarity really, really helped tie it all together.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to know that we want the outcome, but get confused about the steps we need to take to get there. And because there is so much information online and so many shiny objects, the way people sell stuff is like, this is going to get you all the way there. And then we don't necessarily focus on those foundational pieces.
No.
Really huge. So in that light, one thing that happened within us working together is that we right away were like, foundations, getting clear on your vision, getting clear on your values, your innate magic, what you bring, and then how that serves your audience specifically. And around that time, we also did something called your movement message. So you remember this? Of course.
Yes.
And I remember the call with you where we were doing the messaging, and that's one of my favorite things to do when it was so fun. And because you had done your soul story and you knew, your storyline for your mission and your brand, it was really easy. And so will you tell the audience now what we came up with? And then we're going to also dive into how things have shifted and how this has actually held up for you.
So not my vision, right? My mission. Is that right?
Well, no, about the message, like your movement message that we came to, like what your movement message, your movement name.
Yeah. So we came up with Worthy You. And it was really impactful because it touched on part of my soul story where there was a moment in time, something happened that shifted my beliefs about how worthy I was. And that belief is what I lived my life through for many, many years. And as we started to unpack this, it came up very magically, is the best words I can describe, that Worthy You was going to be the movement and the message around that. And there were so many amazing things that came from that, but Worthy You.
I love that. And then fast forward a few months, you started taking a trauma program because a large part of your story was based in a trauma story.
Yes.
And around that worthiness for you that came from that experience. And when you started taking that, things started shifting for you.
Yes.
Where I know in the moment we had many conversations of like, what does this really mean? And what does it mean for what I've built? And so I want to first just say to everybody, this is so normal because it's called evolution and we all do it. And when we are working from a place of transformation, we are continually transforming.
Yes.
And one of the things that you did really beautifully, so I want to honor you in this, is just going forward with it. You weren't like, well, how does this affect my nutrition business? I just launched a website. I just took this program and learned all this messaging and created this movement around a specific niche. And
Yes.
then that niche started to change.
Yes.
And I want to touch on what happened for you and how quickly you were able to integrate that new part of yourself and that niche into your messaging and into what you're offering now and selling. Because I don't know if it felt quick to you, but honestly, that was only like 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Like a 2-month period, you
Yes.
shifted, you realized that you needed to be teaching so much more about healing on a deeper level. And wow. Okay. So for you going through that experience, how powerful was it to have the foundation of the frameworks to be able to go ahead and apply those? And sub question, to see that worthy you was still your movement, even though you evolved.
Yes. Yes. It was mind blowing, I think, to look back on it now, because as I was going through it and learning and becoming more trauma informed as a coach, and knowing that really was, that felt authentic, and that felt like the authentic place in which I needed to start to show up as.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a place that I had shown up before in the past. And so at first it felt so confusing, like, how do I integrate this? We've done all this work and we've established this worthy movement, and I've, got packages and I've got things. How do I integrate this? And we let it sit. But it was the framework that I had established early on in the program that really helped me go back and reassess, what did we do for this part of my story? What did we do for this part of my messaging? How does my vision fit into this new information and this new way of coaching and guiding women? And it at first felt really hard, but as I started to go back to this, it felt really easy to see, like, oh my gosh, this fits in perfectly. I can integrate this easily. And to your point, the Worthy You movement, at first, I again questioned, how does this fit into this new piece that I want to integrate? And I was concerned that I'd done all this work for nothing. And I remember having conversations with you about it, and us realizing through conversation, like, no, this is still the same movement. It's expanded, it's grown to be more of what truly felt like a soul purpose for me.
It became more comprehensive, which is what our deepest work is anyway. I mean, hello, are we multi-passionate or are we just singular focused? But most of the people I talk to, and I know you, are not a frickin' box. And it's not going to be just one thing. And so this is the power of messaging and storytelling that is encompassing of your soul path, not just a marketing message, but such a deeper way of looking at your work in the world and expressing that work, that when you pivot, it doesn't change your movement because it's not actually pivoting, it's expanding.
Yes.
And your movement ultimately holds the umbrella of all that you are anyway, based on your story.
Yes.
So I love that, because it gives other people permission to, don't be afraid to commit. And I think this is something that happened for me in my journey. And it's why I teach what I teach, because I have launched 3 different brands online. And I had to look back and say, how did I do that successfully every time? And it was these frameworks. It was always the messaging, the storytelling, the visibility, and being able to really clearly speak about what I do. Branding is so easy, y'all. It is imprinting what you do and helping people remember it so they can talk about it or come to you later. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. But how do you do that consistently and confidently when you're evolving, right?
Yeah. And I love what you said there about giving yourself permission to open up and expand and evolve. And I think that's the mindset I was getting stuck in at first. And
Mm,
this transition was like, no, but I just created this
yeah.
box. I just
Yeah.
created this website and this story. Yes. And then all of a sudden the box is gone. What does that mean?
Yep.
It was a lot of letting that old thinking, you know, transfer into expansion and being open to exploring. So I still continue to tell my story about nutrition and how that became the kind of core, the starting point of my evolution. But I started to play with storytelling as it related to trauma and my story
Mm,
around trauma. And I didn't figure it out at the beginning. I just let them kind of coexist.
yeah.
What I found was so many people were attracted to this messaging around trauma, and the stories I was sharing really started to attract opportunities that
Yeah.
I had no idea were there. And, it really opened my eyes to just the need to stay open to see how it
Mm.
evolves. And eventually you get to the point where you feel like you can, make progress moving forward.
I love that. So it's like the period of exploration and openness leading to moving forward and momentum. So let's
Yes.
talk about
So,
the momentum and some of the stuff that has happened for you, because what I hear you saying is that you thought you were doing one thing because that's what you had done. And you
yeah.
knew that you couldn't really talk about it in a way that was selling what you do and bringing the right people in. And that was your motivation. But what ended up happening is you opened up to this soul journey, not
Yes.
just around your marketing and your visibility, but around your gifts and what you bring to the
Yes.
world.
Yeah.
And in that, you have now expanded what you do under the umbrella of Worthy You. And
Mhm.
it feels to me, from looking on the outside, that things really did start to pick up once you admitted that this is your soul calling. You were like, okay,
Yes.
I'm going to do it. And now I have all the, I have the foundation, and you still had time with me, which is why
Yes.
this is 6 months. And we even expanded it during it, which we won't have
Mhm.
to get into now, but just to say, don't undersell how much time it takes to really powerfully master your story and really powerfully show up in the online space.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
right. But then it does move fast once you deeply integrate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what
Yeah.
has happened for you in the last couple months since you have shifted, expanded, and really shown up powerfully in your message?
Yeah. It's opened up to a whole new community of um, peer coaches, as well as
Mm.
clients that I had no idea were there.
So collaboration.
Collaboration, um,
Yep.
opportunities to go on podcasts and wellness events and do masterminds and do classes in specific
Guest teaching, right?
Yep, guest
Mhm.
teaching and speaking. I've done
Mm.
speaking engagements. I've, attracted new one-on-one clients, and I actually just launched a new 30-day program called Nourished You that really does encompass all of this work that I've put into this with your help, and I'm starting to sell, get clients into that as well. So it has shifted so much. So that's all of the kind of like outward things, but I would say
Yeah.
too, it shifted my confidence,
Mm.
my ability to show up online and tell a story that really aligns to my movement,
Mm.
message, and aligns to my gifts and my purpose here.
Mm.
So it feels like I'm able to embody it and integrate it and speak to the people I really desire to speak with and collaborate with those that can help coach me even more or open me up to another.
Mhm. Oh my gosh. I love that you said collaboration first, because I know for me, impact and connection are the things. It's like why I do what I do. Like before we got on this, I was like, Jaya, like pep talking myself to have good energy. You know, we do our rooted and ready before we speak, which we do in the program. You know, I do that too. And what I said to myself was, this is why you do what you do. And it's because this connection and knowing that it is impacting the people who are listening to us. This is it. And so that collaboration piece is so incredibly powerful for your business and for your brand growth. So that you said that first, I love. I'm hearing you say collaborations. You also have attracted one-on-one clients and people into your new program, Nourished You, which is in alignment with your Worthy You movement. It just feels like, to me, what you've created is this it's of support for yourself to carry your work forward, and this clarity so that you don't have to second guess, well, is this right? Or is this going to be sending the wrong message? And that's just so amazing. So I want to ask you, do you now, where you are, having built so much and have so much clarity, what do you feel like it's leading you towards in terms of like, the growth and the next level? So like, what is next for you?
Yeah, what is next for me is to continue building this Worthy You movement, to attract and to speak to the women out there who are doing all the things that they feel like they need to be doing, but they're still not fulfilled. They're still kind of stuck, and helping them break free from either their trauma or chronic health issues or whatever it is, but helping build this community of women who feel and embody their worthiness. When we start to do that for ourselves, we can start to shift and become this role model for other people around us, whether that's our kids or our community in general. So that's the number one. I feel like I have this messaging, I have this ability to communicate through story that can start to move this moment or move this message forward in a more impactful way. And then, all the extra added things that come with it, like, helping targeted support women in one-on-ones and get more people into the program. But just keeping it simple. For me, I want to keep it simple in terms of what I have to offer, which is one-on-one in the group programs, and start to continue to speak and do podcasts and teach classes and do all the things. But really, the top level of all that is just to grow and expand this message, this movement. Because that really is, that's really in my heart. I want to see so many women feeling like they are worthy to live the life that they desire.
So good. I love it. And one quick question, because of what we did, you're talking about speaking, a lot of what we're talking about is, of course, under the umbrella of visibility, because that's a portion of the program, and speaking specifically. So do you see yourself speaking on stage when we're ready to do that again? And also, do you feel like what you learned in the program is going to support you in that speaking career?
1,000%. Yes. I see myself speaking on big stages, initiating hope and worthiness and transformation in a big way. And all of what I've learned here really has been huge for me. Being a speaker has been a dream of mine since I was a teenager, and I have visualized for so long. And that was one of the reasons why I was attracted to this program, because it felt like the right time to start to build those skill sets. And just the practice that I had in the program and what I continue to do beyond the program in doing speaking engagements in groups or even on Facebook Lives, I feel like I'm ready to stand up in front of that big stage and move women to living their best life.
That's so good. So just to be clear, this is 6 months ago that we started working together.
Yes.
And you went from having a business offline,
Yes.
And also having a full-time corporate job, getting that business off the ground.
Yeah.
To creating a movement, to getting clear about your story. I mean, and really doing deep healing work around your own story.
Yes.
Taking another program around trauma and becoming trauma informed in your coaching as well.
Yeah.
Creating a group program, Nourished You, getting booked on podcasts, doing collaborations, setting yourself up to have a speaking career. And you've done all of this while you also did your own journey of healing and expanding and shifting and pivoting. Okay.
Yes.
And having how many kids? 4 kids?
4 kids.
Okay. And still having your corporate job, which we now are going to do the next 6 months of one-on-one together and work on shifting that. Correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Just let me hold my stone. I mean, we need round of applause here, because wow, let's give yourself a round of applause and just really honor you, what you have said yes to, and also how many doors are now open for you because of what you said yes to.
Yes.
And not just the program, but the yes you've said to yourself along the way.
100%. Yes.
This was a statement. It's so good. So you know that there are other people listening right now who are where you were, or they're somewhere in the middle. And what do you have to say to them in terms of the saying yes to themselves, in terms of the opening the doorway, and then also the insight of having worked with me now for 6 months and moving forward with another 6 months with me? What advice do you have for them?
Well, my advice is do it. I mean, I have invested in coaching and other resources like coaching programs and other things, and it never felt complete. It never felt like enough. It felt like it was either one side of the spectrum of more energy, or it was on the other side of the spectrum, which was task, hustle, go, go, go. And what I found with this experience was that it was the perfect balance of magic and action and alignment and embodiment and coaching and your innate gifts and guidance along the way. It was the perfect mix to allow me to start to take action. And so I would say, if you're at that moment where you're like, I feel like I need to do something different, this is the program that I know will help you. I just took so much from it. And even my husband made a comment while I was in the program and was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much action I'm seeing you take. And it was only 4 months into our working together. And he's like, to this versus 4 months into another experience, and I didn't see you doing all of this. And he's like, I see you shifting and you're really taking action. And so I knew if he was seeing it, that it was huge. So I think sometimes it can feel scary to say yes to yourself, to believe in yourself that you can do it. But it's that take that step, because Jaya holds you in such an amazing space to grow and to expand and to challenge you in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, in a way that doesn't feel like you're not allowed to be who you are. And you're so accepting with everyone and in everyone's story and experiences and gifts and passions, that it's a really incredible experience. Take the step, know that you are worthy of doing it. You working with Jaya will just be, 6 months, a blip in your timeline, but it will propel you for so many years that I don't see any other way than to do it.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. I'll just be over here crying. Excuse me. Words of affirmation for days. And I love that. I love what a beautiful relationship we have been able to develop through this. And I think that that's really the sign for me of our of the question of, are you attracting the right people to your work? You know, can you imagine being friends with them? Because I am like stalking your new puppy. You know, I'm like, you are not getting rid of me and I'm not getting rid of you. And so, you know, I think that's just such a beautiful, it's a beautiful testament to both of us, really, and being open and available for the next right step. And so that's what I would say to everybody listening. Follow the guidance of what your wisdom is telling you around what is the next right step for you. And don't allow those voices of fear to get in the way, because there's always going to be that level of excitement / fear inside of the next step that is going to propel you forward. Otherwise, it's probably just going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
Right. I appreciate you being here so much. This was so fun. You just popped the Speak Your Truth cherry, Speak Your Truth podcast cherry of client interview. This is the first one ever. It's so good. And is there anything else? Do you feel like you have an exclamation point for us?
Yeah. You know, I think now, after our year of 2020 and really seeing what is working and what isn't working, I think deep down, many of us and those who feel you and who are attracted to you know that they can no longer sit on the sidelines and let their things be sideline things. I think we all have something stirring within us after this last year that is saying, now is the time to speak our truth.
So good. That is the exclamation point. Amazing. And thank you all for being here live as we're broadcasting this live. And also, if you're listening on the podcast later, follow Mandy. Mandy, you want to give us your handle and on Instagram and then also your Facebook group?
Yeah, so I'm Mandy L. Harvey on Instagram, and my Facebook group is Worthy You for Highly Sensitive Leaders.
Worthy You for Highly Sensitive Leaders. What a good name. I love it. So yeah, check out Mandy. And then of course, share this episode, take a screenshot, put it up on your Instagram stories, tag me, tag Mandy, and let us know whatever came through for you listening to this. Share with us. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.